The mind is the control center of what we think. Thoughts become ideas, which becomes words, and create our reality. Rewiring the mind requires consistent practice of right thinking and believing. When we master rewiring the mind through persistent effort, we are empowered to emancipate ourselves as well as educate and liberate our children and other people in our sphere of influence. But how do we truly rewire our minds? Let's explore this conversation. Welcome back to Global Teachership Hub. Today we're going to be exploring how we truly rewire our minds and the minds of our children so that we're able to think more liberated and have a greater sense of self-awareness and how to operate in the sphere in which we exist. Learning the art of rewiring our mind is essential for us to become the person that we really need to be. However, more often than not, we hardly make the time to examine the thoughts and the core ideas that are in us and explore their origins, acceptance, or eradication. And we also tend to pass these on to the generations that are coming after us without examining if they're profitably serving us or simply being destructive to our progress and our aspirations. If the mind is truly the powerhouse of our being, then we need to prioritize the care that we are giving to it and ensure that it is fully stocked with the relevant nutrients it requires to feed us and allow us to grow. And we need to give our children the same opportunity and privilege. Additionally, it is our duty and our responsibility to extend this opportunity to our children and the generations that we are going to be influencing. Here is how we can explore rewiring our minds. We're going to examine some strategies and approaches that will be beneficial for us, as well as things that we need to teach our children how to do so that they are efficient and effective at eradicating ideologies that doesn't serve them and their advancement, and adopting ideologies that are going to be beneficial to their advancement. Number one is to assess conscious belief. It is paramount that we probe our behaviors to understand why we have the traditions and customs that we practice. Additionally, examine what belief systems they are hinged to and assess if they are beneficial to us in the season that we are currently in and where we are heading. Explore the impact that those beliefs have on us and our purpose and the way that we are choosing to live. We need to truly investigate if they are designed to allow us to walk in the fullness of who we are created to be, or if they limit us to conformity simply because they are ideologies that were taught to us and have been going down through the generations from generations prior to us based on the conditions under which they existed and were living. It is simply unacceptable to resort to the view that because it's been that way for generations makes it acceptable to keep those things and those ideas around. Everything that is created has a purpose, and our thoughts are no different, and therefore we need to assess them and ensure that they are beneficial to our existence. Number two is to groom the mind. Once we assess our conscious beliefs and evaluate our behaviors, it starts to expose the ideologies that feeds our thinking and behaving. We are therefore able to isolate ideologies and really follow them to their root, determining what is vital for our development and those that are detrimental to our survival and thriving. This gives the power to weed out thoughts that evolves into ideas that are ultimately destructive. It provides the consciousness to pull out the disease ideas and replace them with healthy ideas, one idea cluster at a time. It is important to understand that not all idea roots become obvious immediately. Some can remain dormant for long periods of time. However, when placed in certain situations, it is imperative to practice reflection and use that as a tool to spot the ideologies that lead to our response or reactions. Examine it closely to determine if it should be rooted out or if it is something that we need to nurture. These are also habits that we need to teach our children so that they are also going through that transformation and rewiring of their minds at the same point in time that we are, especially if they are older children that are still living under our supervision. Number 3 is to feed and nurture productive beliefs. When thoughts are examined and found to be useful and productive, it is crucial that those thoughts are fed. We do so by following on a path of exploration to verify the values and beliefs of such thoughts in the life that we want to create. That recognition of it being a rewarding experience helps to reaffirm the importance of having it around. Of course, change is never easy, and therefore repeated processing is required to practice right thinking and channel right behaving. It will require several iterations and modifications to get to the place where the beliefs are properly nurtured and where you are able to add more meaningful beliefs to existing ones. This stage requires heightened consciousness. The more we are aware of the beliefs and consistently add to them or remove the ones that are not to be nurtured, the more easily it will be for us to spot new ideas to feed and add to the bundle, or ideas that needs to be uprooted and cast down. Rewiring our minds should be an upgrade to our thinking in a way that is beneficial and profitable to our survival. A limited mind does only one thing: it limits us, whilst an infinite mind gives us scope of possibilities to do many things and to see the need for improvements as we are living. And it is important that we teach our children the benefit of an infinite or growth mindset. The fact is, if we are constantly improving our model, there would be less need for drastic change and overhaul. The suggestion here is for us to focus on the things that we are doing automatically and spend the time to examine the belief systems that are running those commands and modify them gradually, thereby reducing the severe impact of a full drastic transformation. It is incumbent on every human being, and especially on parents, to be conscious of the motives for their actions, to get to the bottom of understanding why they are behaving the way that they are behaving, and if that is actually what is the best thing for them. Because if it isn't, we are doing ourselves a disservice and certainly passing on behaviors to our children that will also do them a disservice. We do not want to leave our children a legacy that is destructive to their existence and their survival and their productivity. What we want to do is to ensure that we're leaving a behavioral legacy to our children that are going to be productive and profitable to their existence. And part of doing that starts with us rewiring our minds and teaching them how to transform themselves through that rewiring of their minds as well. Here's an actionable that you could practice to support you with implementing this approach in your current living situation. Get a notepad and jot down your top 3 beliefs. These can be any beliefs, such as we eat food because we like the taste and the social benefits eating brings. Explore why you hold that view and the original seed of that belief. It might also be that your belief in this regard is we eat food for our body's sustenance and benefit. And that's just it. And if that's the case, explore as well. Why is it that you believe that way? And then have a look at what are alternative beliefs. Is your belief a good and productive way to think? So now that you have done the assessing, let's now focus on the grooming. So now you need to focus on grooming your mind by affirming the thoughts or labeling the ideas as erroneous. Make a decision as to which it is from your exploration that you have done with your thinking. If it is erroneous, what is a better or correct ideology for you to hold? And how do you intend to ensure that you can feed that idea? Now, the third thing that you're going to do now is to focus on feeding and nurturing the thought. So formulate some statements that supports the thought that you want to grow and value, such as food is medicine to my body, and so I'll eat what is added value and in the right portion and nutritional balance. see how it connects, and start acting on those thoughts. Remember that truly rewiring the mind is a process and a journey, and we simply need to be conscious about making the effort to ensure that we are nurturing and feeding those thoughts that are going to be productive and positive. Sometimes we might find that we slip back into routines. However, it's for us to acknowledge when we have and rectify the situation as soon as possible. Thank you for staying with us, having this conversation here, and hopefully this will be beneficial to you in supporting you as you focus on rewiring your mind.